everyone. How's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a podcast from Prince Manvendra, who is the first openly gay prince, I think, in the world, and has had an incredibly fascinating, difficult, but also productive life. And the goal of this is to go and understand who you are better as a human, how you see the world, and just learn about everything that you're doing. So welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy.
Fantastic. So I brought this quote up yesterday to Darcy Donovan. I think it's a good one. It was Pindar that had said, become who you are by learning who you are. And I wanted to ask you this, what that means to you, and what makes you you? What makes Prince Manvendra Prince Manvendra?
I just think that it's the way I was brought up, and the cultural upbringing, which happens normally in royal families, that makes you who you are. So it's you imbibe the principles of growing up, the philosophy of life, and certain experiences that make the person who you become in the future. So I think I kind of owe a lot to my cultural upbringing, um, to make me the person I am today.
That was obviously being, for the most part, the same person or acting as one person for many years, for entire childhood through a decent amount of your adult life. Um, Robert Kennedy had once said that every society gets the criminal that it deserves. And in 2017, homosexuality was still considered a crime in India. What is it like knowing that even though that you've done nothing wrong, the government still saw you as a criminal in the eyes of the law? How did you take that?
Yeah. See, one thing I want to make clear, homosexuality, yes, it was perceived that it was a crime, but actually being gay was never a crime in India. It was the homosexual act which was a crime.
Okay,
So
misconception. Thank you for
if
clarifying.
yeah, so if you had sex with the same sex, if a man had sex with a man or a woman had sex with a woman, and it was you were caught in that act, and reported, then you are a criminal. But if I am gay, then it was not a crime in India. So but even I mean, even if this homosexual act was a crime in privacy, in I mean, with the consent of each other, and if you're an adult, then definitely it was discrimination against us, because I mean, we are not doing anything wrong to the society. I mean, we are doing everything in private. We are doing with consent of each other, and we are adults. Um, so that's why we had to fight for it, because it was the constitutional right of a citizen, of an Indian citizen, which was being guaranteed as a right, and this constitutional right was being violated by this law, which wasn't even an Indian law. It was a law which was enacted by the British during the time when India was being colonized by the British. This law was enacted. So this law was not based on Indian culture or Indian moralities. This law was based on the Victorian moralities. When Queen Victoria was the Empress of India, that is the time when this law was being made. So that's why it was important to challenge, because why should we have laws based on a foreign country when we were not being colonized? In 1947 we got independent.
Yes.
You know, it would
Yes.
be like America. Now America is independent since 1776, and if you have laws based on in America based on what America was prior to 1776, you know,
Agreed.
so it is something similar to that.
I understand that. In so you were not out to everyone. You hadn't told anyone. I think your family found out in 2002, but you weren't publicly. Um, you hadn't come out publicly until I think 2006, and
Yes.
because law that you had helped change wasn't changed until 2018.
Yeah.
During those 12 years, what was the hardest part in that before it had gotten legalized?
See, hardest part was, to face the homophobic society, who still thought, a lot of people in India still thought that to be gay is a crime, is to be gay is a sin, So they didn't know most of the people in India did not know that it was the homosexual act, which was the sexual act, which was a crime. So you were always subject to stigma, discrimination, right from your family, your home to your workplace. See, the fact is that till the time you are in the closet, it's fine. Nobody has a problem. It's only once you come out of the closet, then the problem starts. So you have to face, being violated. Our human rights get violated at each and every point of your life, whether it's access to education or it's access to health, basic human rights. For me, LGBT rights are nothing else but human rights. So as human beings, we are all equal, but yet we have to face so much of humiliation. We have to face so much of shame, so much of ostracization, marginalization of for no fault of ours.
Yeah.
So that's why our lives are very, very challenging compared to others.
I understand. So in the US, you kind of have and also be advised, there's a little bit of static. I'm not sure if there's something near your mic. But in America, there is kind of, we have like this, okay boomer saying, where a lot of the senior citizens in our country kind of tend to be in the old ways, where they're usually not as accepting, and the younger generation is super accepting. Is that the same in India, or is the younger generation you see a lot more accepting than that of your own or the generation before you?
See, now the younger generation is kind of started accepting us, because there's a lot of social media. There's a lot of exposure. People are talking about it. But in the past, when I came out, it was surprising that the older generation was accepting. The older means very, very old people. I'm talking about people who are above 80, above 90. Those
Oh,
were the
wow.
people. Yeah, it is surprising that when I came out, then in fact, I want to tell you a story. When I came out in 2006, I got a call from the Senior Citizens Club. There is Senior Citizens Association in my town, and they are all above 70s and above 80s, above 90s. And the oldest person, the president of the club, was 94 years old then. He sent me a letter and said, "We want to honor you for what you have done." And he said, "See, for us, it is not important that you came out as gay, and that's not the point. But for us, it's important to honor you, because there are very few people in this world who uh, who are honest and who are speaking the truth. So for us, we want to honor you for that, for being honest to yourself and to others." So because when the older you get, you always feel that when the time comes that you are now to leave this earth and to go to a better place. They think that the honesty is something which they feel is the best thing someone can do in their lives. So that's the reason I think the older generation was more supportive than the younger generation.
That's interesting that you say that. I definitely want to get into what you were just talking about. There is a little bit of static on your end. Is there something on the microphone that you have?
I just checked. One sec. Can you just give me a moment?
Yeah, sure. Go over the rest of the comments, y'all. Go and mute on him real quick. Japanese imperial oil. Maybe Prince Toby, maybe. I will be asking him this in a little bit, Bill Gardner. Thank you for asking. We will definitely get into that. I have to see how long I have him for. Jason Lawrence, the man, the myth, the legend, the real Randy Chavez, Omi and Vivi to the moon. There's a lot to talk about. I might do a video after this. I might go live after this. I'm not sure.
I don't know how is it better or the same. I think if it still continues, I would suggest if I go off the video, then sometimes the clarity is better.
Yeah, we might do that. If you could just hop off real quick and then come back on, that might be better. That might just because it's still staticky on your end.
Okay, so I'm just going to put off my video.
All right, copy that, and then come back on. All right. He is off. Right?
Is it better now?
It is better. There's still a little bit of static in there, though. I mean, at that point, I can still understand what you're saying. There's just a little bit, which is probably fine. I would say maybe go back off of, like, exit out of the stream and then come back on, and then sometimes that fixes it.
Okay, I can try that.
All right, copy that. Thanks. She needs pause. Dashie has pause, but you never see Dashie's pause. Dashie's pause are down below. Thank you. Tony just says love it. I will 100. Yeah, so I might go live after this. I might just do a video. There's a lot to go over. Like, there's a lot. I do have to go live. I want to go live tomorrow for the Incredibles drop because I think that's going to be really good. That Alice in Wonderland poster drops posters, and they made like $90,000 off that, which is extraordinarily well. Pro the Doge just made a comment like, "Oh, why is VV trending or VV's trending?" So I just slam dunked on that, and I just saw like, "Hey, VV's trending because of X, Y, and Z." I'll totally read it to you either in the next live or in the next video I do. Quick response. Shout out from Sergio. Sergio went over on Facebook and said, "Oh, slam dunk from Randy Chavez." Like, oh, thanks guys. And one says the real Randy Chavez. We need an Omi breakdown. The browser jacket needs an appearance. FUD information or attack on Omi token incoming. Hit the deck. Omi in trouble. Well, Omi's definitely not in trouble. You might have a couple people that might think that, but that's fine. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Much better.
I tried. Is it better?
Yes. Yeah, there's no static, so we're good. You had mentioned in the last thing that you were saying, talking about, like, thanks for living your truth, and because we only get one life, like fighters fight, lovers love, and quarterbacks throw. There are, we're none of us are 20 anymore, and I feel like we do kind of think about the end the older we get. There's a quote from Fight Club where Tyler Durden is talking to the guy that plays Ed Norton, and he says, "If you were to die right now, how would you feel about your life?" And it's a question I do like to ask myself every now and then to gauge progress. And I'm not going to impugn judgment. I just want to, just curious, like, if the Lord were to take you right now, how would you feel about the life you've lived so far?
I mean, I was never scared of death, to be very honest. I'm still not. The fact I have received death threats all throughout my life. I mean, the moment I came out, I started receiving death threats, and I still receive death threats. There are still a lot of people who hate me, who think that I should die. And I said, fine. I mean, if I have to die, I'll die. Nobody can stop me. I mean, nobody can stop anyone from dying. But I will not have any, ill feeling or regret about it. I mean, everyone has a role to play in one's life. And if I have to die, I think that that was the role which I had to play. And now the curtains have come down, and I need to quit. I need to go. I need to change my role of what I was living. And I will have a very satisfactory and peaceful death, I think.
Have you seen the movie Black Panther?
I don't actually watch much films to be very honest. So
It's
I don't know,
it's one of
but if it's
those Marvel
yeah, but
superhero movies.
but
Um,
I will watch it if now that you have told me. I will try to see if I can watch it.
they had it might not even be that movie. It might be the movie Captain America Civil War, where Black Panther is in that movie as well, and he says that death in their culture is more of a jumping off point. Like it's just part of the journey. Do
Yeah.
you feel, do you believe in life after death? Do you believe that there's something afterwards? Or are the memories we create here the only true afterlife?
Yeah, I mean, see, in our culture, we do believe in life after death, and like we have an old scripture of ours in India. It's called the Bhagavad Gita, which talks about. It's Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book; it is more of like a guidebook,
Yeah.
which teaches you a lot about the principles of life, the philosophy of life, and this the Gita says that what you do in this life is always carried forward to the next one. So it tells you that if you are doing good deeds, then those good deeds will be carried forward. If you're doing bad deeds, then it's the theory of karma. You might have heard the word karma a lot.
Yeah.
So it's based on that. So it this through this book, it teaches you to do good deeds, or try to do good deeds in your life, so that that was something which will be carried forward. Like you have a balance sheet in accounts, the profit will be carried forward, loss will be carried forward. So the more good deeds you do, the more profit you are accumulating, and that will be carried forward to help you in your next life.
I think if everyone followed that philosophy, I think the world might be a little bit of a better place, trying to do
Yes,
more good than
exactly.
harm. There's one of my favorite sayings is if we don't mark the milestones, we're just passing with the time. What are some of your favorite milestones in life? The good moments, the moments that you're proud of, that you've accomplished over your lifetime.
I think for me, the whole fact that I came out of the closet and I told the whole world who I am was something which I feel was a big milestone, because it was I was leading a life of hypocritic life. Myself, I was lying to myself and lying to others. And if I have managed to be honest to myself and honest to others, is something which I feel is a milestone in my life, because then I don't have to fear anything. I don't have to lie. I don't need to fear. Need not feel bad what I'm doing. I'm just what I'm inside. I'm outside. I'm like a person living in a glass house. People know everything which what is happening inside me, and I know what's happening outside of me.
The I'm glad to hear you say that. There's a lot of people that follow you on Twitter. We'll get more into that at some point. You had met a bunch of other influential people in the world as well. Like you were on Oprah Winfrey had you on, and Oprah was like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, talk show host in America, at least at the time, but if not ever. How was she as a person, and was that everything you had expected?
Yeah, in fact, I want to tell you about an experience which I can never forget in my life. I think the biggest compliment I've got from anyone as of now is from Oprah. And this when I did her show second time, I mean, I was three times on her show. First time in 2007, second time 2011, and third time 2014. And 2011, when she invited me to Chicago, she told me that she was ending her 25 years of her the show, Oprah Winfrey Show, and she told me that she has interviewed great personalities like the Dalai Lama, Nelson Mandela, and the royalties, and President Obama, and many names she took. But she said, out of all the people she has interviewed so far, I have been probably one of the most honest persons she has met. And that was a big compliment, because I mean, I knew I'm honest, but to get it from person like Oprah was a huge compliment, which has motivated me to be more and more honest in my life. Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with her?
Yes, yes, I do. In fact, last year when I was in US, during the time of my visit itself, she lost her father. So I
Oh,
reached out to her. I paid my condolences to her. She had taken off from her work schedule at that time, because naturally you can understand, when one loses the father, then it's a big shock for oneself. So
yeah.
I did reach out to her, and I know, and she knew I was in US that time.
Wow. How
Yeah,
often do you come to the US?
I do come. I mean, of course during the pandemic, nobody was allowed to travel, so I was not there. But last year, 2019, I was in New York to celebrate the 50 years of the Stonewall riots. With the 50th year, I was there for the Pride, the World Pride in New York, and last year I was there for almost three months. I was in US, traveling from New Jersey to New York to Block Islands and Ohio and Florida and a lot of places. Yeah. So yeah,
When's
I
the next
love
time you're
USA.
coming?
Yeah, next time, probably next year, because this year I'm part of this the G20 Summit, which is being hosted in India. So I cannot leave the country
Yeah.
until the end of the year. So probably next year, I'm hoping to come.
When is that G20 summit over? Or when does it start? When does it end?
It started on 1st of November last year, and it's going to end 31st October. And then the next country hosting it is Brazil. So I'm working on that. I mean, end of this month, we're having an international conference. So a lot of delegates all over the world are coming in. So I'm going to be participating in that, and we have to submit our documents, policy documents to the government. And I have been given a very important role in the G20 summit. I'm taking care of transgender health, access to transgender health care. So that's a very important portfolio I'm taking care of for the summit.
I was going to invite you to New York Comic Con later this year, but that is in October. You'll still be busy.
Yes,
We'll,
yes,
we'll we'll get you out here next year, and
yeah.
we'll have some fun. Um, in the Speaking about that bill, I've had a couple of mutual friends of ours on the podcast. I've had Amar Singh on a couple times talking about the trying to ban conversion therapy. I've had Sarah Austin on a couple of times. The only follower that you have that I haven't had on between us is Paris Hilton. I will try to get her on at some point, and then I'll go. Have you talked to? Is she a big help in these types of things, or did you connect more of on a Web3 type of deal?
Who is it? I didn't get you. Which?
Paris Hilton, the heir
Oh,
to the
no, no, no,
Hiltons.
no. I haven't been in touch with her
Okay,
as yet.
I,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
follows you on Twitter, so she likes at least one or two things about you.
Yeah, she does follow me. I was surprised that she follows me, in fact. So, but I haven't yet been able to touch base with her.
Cool. But that is someone I wanted to bring that up because Amar Singh has been on. You guys have had success in many things, and your next big thing is going to try to ban conversion therapy because that's
Yeah.
still legal in India. What is the headway on it? Is it as simple of a fight as it was to get homosexuality legalized? Is it harder? Is it? Give us the details on it, please.
Yeah, so this whole idea about the conversion therapy came to me because I myself was a victim, or rather, I was going to be a victim of conversion therapy, but fortunately, it did not happen. So I thought that let me file a petition in the Supreme Court to urge the government to ban conversion therapy, and especially with regards to children, because there are a lot of children in our country, and I'm sure across the world, who become innocent victims, and they are unable to voice their concerns because of their age. So that's the reason I took up this. And fortunately for us, one of our states, I mean, in India, there are a lot of states. I mean, and one of our states in South India, it's called Tamil Nadu. Their High Court has passed a verdict 2 years ago. And that's the first state in the country to have banned conversion therapy or made that illegal. So we are kind of we have a state in this country which has banned it, and now I'm planning to ban it in the entire country. So I'm sure it's not going to be that as difficult as decriminalizing homosexuality, but we have to go through a process, and I'm sure, I mean, I'll be able to do it very soon.
Well, I'm glad to see that you have high hopes for it. We have a super chat from Ray Thax with the pride flag, with love and rocking on. He's a good friend. We love him.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Thanks.
You had mentioned before, after the G20 summit ends here, it will go to Brazil.
Yeah.
How have relations eased over the last decade because of BRICS? Are being part of the BRICS nations, has that made you guys closer together, or has that forced you to interact with people that maybe you don't want to interact with?
No, the relations have been good. In fact, we've already started working with Brazil since the time the G20 has started in India. And even the last time when we were together for a conference, we had someone from Brazil who had joined us virtually on the virtual this platform even when I was presenting my paper on the transgender health access, we had someone from Brazil join in. So we have even this time we are getting someone over, and we are very actively working with that. And of course, BRICS has helped bring the two countries together. And our current government, where we have the Prime Minister Modi. I mean, he was recently on a visit to US as well, where he was greatly received by the US President Biden and many others. Our relationships with many countries which were not as good as they were in the previous government have definitely improved a lot, and we are hoping to have a good relations with them when the G20 gets passed on to Brazil, as it was in the past. Even before it came to India, it was with Indonesia. Then also we were working closely with them, and so now because this is an ongoing process, so we have to see that wherever the summit is getting hosted, our the work we have done, the policies which we are trying to strategize, we see that they should get implemented in whichever country it is going through.
When you talk about easing of policies and easing of tensions, it's called détente, are the issues with the skirmishes with the border between India and China, those skirmishes also lessened? Are things getting easier there?
See, I don't think I would say it's getting better or worse, but one thing is for sure that each country, it's important now to maintain the peace. That is the important message. We fight within the country, we fight for border issues, we fight for so many issues, but at large, for everyone to benefit, I think world peace is something which we should all aim for. And our culture is very tolerant. We are not a culture which believes in war. We do not believe that there's fights, there is unnecessarily tensions. So we have always fought for maintaining peace, but at the same time we do not wish to compromise on things. So I think it's in the interest of everyone. I mean, you see what has happened with Ukraine and Russia. I mean, it is just unnecessary. Things could have been avoided, but you have to strategize. You have to make strategies between countries, which could avoid unnecessarily war and tension, and the whole world gets affected. There's no point in just fighting with each other.
Speaking of strategies, there are a couple of different ways. Like if you ask a professional poker player what their favorite hand is or how to play it, you'll get a bunch of different answers. One of the strategies that our mutual friend Amar has is art and NFTs and incorporating that art into the digital world. When he had signed a deal with Vivi, had he mentioned that to you, what Vivi is?
No, I am not familiar with these words. I mean, I know I have heard about NFT and things like that, but I'm not actually familiar with these things as yet. I'm
Yes.
quite technically not a very sound person when it is something to do with all these technicalities. Yeah.
So that is the best part about Vivi. You don't need to be technically savvy at all. And I think he knew that going in, saying that everyone in the world, it might be hard to have like a MetaMask and connect it to like the internet, connect it to these different things and wrap your crypto. But on Vivi, all you need to do is have a PayPal or have a debit card number, and you could go and purchase this art. And one of the art he made was with Givenchy, and it's called Pride Givenchy Beauty. And
Oh, okay. Wow.
yeah, he
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's a couple of different things like this. Did he happen to show you this? You seem to recognize it. They
No, I haven't seen this, but yeah, it's definitely with the rainbow colors and all. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, the rewind flag as well. So there's a couple of things that he had gone on. Has there ever been any type of art that has either made you feel uncomfortable or made you emotional in a certain way that you weren't expecting?
I mean, the people have made a lot of portraits of mine. I mean, they've been making since the time, like I've come out. There've been a number of people who have asked me beforehand. Some have just surprised me, by making a portrait, and they have been on exhibitions, and people have seen them, and then they have shown them to me that, oh, look, you are on the wall of some European country, or somewhere your face is being shown in the public. And I think it's fine, so long as they'll make me look good. I'm good looking, and I'm looking sexy on the frame. I don't mind being exhibited anywhere in the world. So I should look good, and that's the important thing. Randy, I can't hear you. I think you got muted. No, now, no, you now I can see the mute button, but I don't know if the others can hear you, but I cannot hear you.
Is that better?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you're
Okay,
back.
cool. Every now and then the Wi-Fi goes out. Not 100% sure why. Um, so the next question I have is, obviously you've lived a very good life, or a very interesting life. It was full, some good, some bad. But when talking about looking good and love, how did you define love when you were younger, and how did that change after you got married?
Love for me has been something which is selfless, um, unconditional, and something which you cannot go to the market and say, "Hey, give me a pound of love," or "Give me a gallon of love." That's not possible. You cannot buy love; it has to come natural. So I think that definition remains for me. Now I have a new definition of love. As I'm growing older, my thoughts and my feelings of many things are changing. So now I have a very interesting definition of love. You want to hear it?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. So I'm now comparing love with the size of the washroom in your house. So which is a very interesting thing. It's uh, why I compare it with a washroom, because washroom is not a very important part of your house. I mean, yeah, it is important for doing certain things, but the size of the washroom need not be that big that yeah, you should have a good sized living room, a bedroom, and office space and all. But uh, for me, I compared the love with the size of the washroom, and I use it in my own place, in the palace where I live. uh, the size of my washroom is so big that I can perform a dance, I can do a dance performance in that washroom. It's that big of a washroom. But if you go to find the love in that palace, you have to literally take a magnifying glass to find love there.
Oh,
There's hardly any love in that space. But if I go to my friends' homes, the first thing when I go to any friend's home, I tell them I want to visit your washroom. And I go to their washroom, and the washroom is really very tiny. It's a very small space,
oh,
but the love in that house is tremendous. So for me, the love can be defined by the size of the washroom in your house. So
that's
Randy,
interesting.
next time I'm visiting your home, I'm going to visit your washroom and see how much you love me.
Well, it will be clean, um, but it is very small. It's
Oh,
very, very,
good, good, good. Then
but
I'll
very
then I'll be very happy. If your size of your washroom is small, then I'll be happy.
good. I'm glad that it will make you happy. There is a quote that I want to bring up from Optimus Prime, where he is in the second Transformers movie. He's talking to Sam, and he says, "Sam, fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing. After all that you've done, you know, uh, heavy is the head that wears the crown. You have had a lot of responsibilities, and this next goal that you have is about to be accomplished within the next few years. After that, do you think you'll have another calling, or will it to be continue this trend?"
Yeah, I have definitely a lot of responsibilities on my head. Not, I mean, the multiple responsibilities, I would say, like my having a balance between living a lifestyle and a gay lifestyle, and to kind of try to uh, give priorities to what is important. And I think I'm really happy with this life I'm living. As and I think mentioned in the past, I see this whole world as a play, as Shakespeare has put it, where we have all come here to do our bit of our role. Randy, you're playing your own role. I'm playing as Manvendra. I'm playing my own role. And when the time comes, the play has to end one day. It cannot just go on endlessly. A time will come when the curtains will come down, and you, Randy, will be playing another role, or may not play a role. I may play a different role, or I may not play a different role, and we have to just accept what comes our way. I think that's the best way to deal with life, and that's something which I have learned through experiences, that to have the least expectations. When we have expectations and the expectations don't get fulfilled, then that's something which, you know, uh, yeah, you have got good biceps. I know that.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
stretching. My shoulder hurts.
Oh,
So,
okay, okay, okay. And I was looking at your biceps. Anyway,
so
naughty mind. So yeah, so you have to just live a life where you accept things the way they come in your life, and not have too many expectations. And that's something which is going to make your life really happy and fulfilling.
so I'm going to get a little weird here. I'm going to get a little out there with the supernatural. So apologies in advance. But let's say that you're out on a walk or you're out traveling somewhere you're alone, and it happens to be a place where aliens have come down. how do you describe humanity to these aliens that ask you to tell them about the world? How do you describe humans to them?
I'll just tell the aliens, be you who you are, and live your life, live the life with truthfulness and honesty. If you're aliens, then you have to be aliens. You can't pretend to be earthlings. so
If they
uh,
ask you to
so
tell them about Earthlings, like say, hey, describe to me a human, how would you describe us to them?
I'll tell them humans are complex beings. There are a lot of complexities in them, and humans are not some things which what they look from outside, they are from inside the same. You have to really experience them to know their true self. So it's like, not, you cannot judge a book by its cover. It's something like that. So you have to kind of talk to them. You have to meet them. You have to live them to know who they are, and they won't be what you perceive they would be.
So once that meeting is over, who is the first call you would make? Would it be to another royal and be like, "Hey, I just saw, I just saw these aliens"? Would it be to a family member? Would it be to someone in the state or another part of the world?
I would rather make a call to my own self than to anyone else, to reflect upon. I do that. I do a lot of reflection. I mean, I just talk to myself. I kind of go within
So
myself, and I reflect upon. See, what is reflection? You look at a mirror, and to see yourself. So one should reflect oneself without looking into the mirror. Just see what's happening. Just see what's going on, and you get a lot of answers from that.
who is another who's another royal that you really get along with? And it could be someone that is alive or someone that had passed on. There's somebody else that you really trust. They're like, this is a good person. I really like them.
Yeah, there have been a lot of members of the royal families who have like have been close to me. My father's uncle, he passed away. He was really very supportive towards me, and in fact, he was planning to write a biography and a film also in my on my life. But unfortunately, he passed away. But he was really close to me, and it's because of him that I was able to survive when I was thrown out of the palace. I mean, he was in USA at that time when I was struggling with my coming out and the challenges which I was facing. And he called me from US and he said, "You have a home in India. You have a palace. If you want to stay in." I mean, he did have a palace in India. So I did stay with him for a short period of time before I managed to get my own place. So there have been people, who have helped me out, who have understood me, and of course there have been people who wanted to kill me as well. So there has been both aspects of people who I've met.
So I do want to get back to this, but there's something that just popped in my head that kind of has something to do with this. Did you ever get the chance to meet Princess Diana?
No, I did not have a chance to meet her, but of course I adored her a lot. I watched the entire wedding of theirs on television. Yeah, I was young. I was in, I think, perhaps in college when and we that is the time when we had color television first time. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
yeah, in India we had. I mean, the color television came quite late, and we were fortunate to see the whole wedding on a color television. So yeah, as a person, I really liked her a lot. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of her
Yeah,
with the accident she had. But yes, she was. I mean, if I got a chance to meet her, I would have definitely met her.
yeah. So back to, you mentioned that your uncle had let, or your father's uncle had let you stay with him for a little while.
Yeah.
And I had read that you kind of paid that forward and you have a place designated for LGBT youth that had gotten kicked out of their homes. How much time have you spent with those kids?
How much time I have spent with whom?
With the kids that stay there.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely I'm lucky. My father, I mean, after even throwing me out of the palace and disowning me, discrediting me, he realized his mistake, and it was my father who donated this 15 acres of this royal establishment where I'm currently having this space for the community, the LGBT community campus, which is being developed by me. And not just that, he also laid the foundation stone of India's first LGBT community campus. So that was a huge change, I would say, in somebody who was extremely homophobic towards becoming an ally, a supporter for me. So I've definitely lucky that I got this space from him, and I'm using it. This is for a lot of queer people, a lot of people who are from the LGBT community who get thrown out from homes, and I try to spend more and more time with them, trying to understand them, trying to see how we could bridge the gap between the individuals and the parents, because at the end of the day I would like to see that we don't get thrown out from homes. We need to find out the root cause of this problem and try to mend it. That's my dream. So of course now I'm housing them. They are living, they are having a home where they could be safe and secure. But why should a time come when they get thrown out? So I'm working a lot of with parents as well. I'm doing a lot of parent counseling. Whenever anyone reaches out to me, I try to reach out to the parents. In India now, fortunately, we have something very similar to what America has. You have P flag there. We have something similar to P flag in India, where it started by parents. We have now 200 parents with us who have started this Rainbow Parents Association, and these parents have been extremely helpful in reaching out to other parents to make them understand why they should accept their child and why they should not throw them throw them from their homes and accept them as gay, as lesbian, as queer. So that kind of work I'm involved with. In fact, I'm forming one in America as well of Indian parents, parents who are from Indian origin, who have settled in US, migrated to US, and who are having issues accepting their children. So I'm in the process of forming a branch of P flag, which consists of Indian parents, of Asian parents, who can help each other out.
When when you go and you spend time with these people, especially with young people that I feel like we can always learn from, what's the most astounding thing that you've learned from them?
See, they're going through a lot of mental issues in their mental health issues in their lives, because they realize that for no fault of theirs, they have been getting discriminated, and their own family member. Just imagine the mother who has given birth to you is one day showing you the door and saying that you're not wanted in this house. So imagine that mental trauma one has to go through. So just to be with them, to listen to their stories is itself, uh, you get to learn so much from them. Recently we had the American the Consul General of America who visited us there in the shelter home. He spoke to each one of them, though there was a language barrier. We had somebody to translate for him, and he was really astounded. He was really, after meeting all of them, he was really very, very shocked and surprised to hear their stories. We get a lot of we have a lot of guests coming there. We had the British High Commissioner who came. We had the American Consul General. We have had a lot of other embassies, the French embassies visiting us, and just talking to them, and listening to them. It's very, very emotional to kind of listen to their stories. Each one of them, they have a different story to say.
When you had mentioned before about potentially writing a book, uh, are you going to wait until after the goal of banning conversion therapy is completed before you write that, or will you start now, and if it finishes before then, you'll maybe write a second one, or are you going to go and wait for that to finish?
No, in fact, the journalist who outed me, the journalist who did my coming out story, she is she's already started, or rather, she's almost completed my biography. She's writing my biography, and she's very close to me. She's become a family friend of mine. She became very popular after she came. She did my story, so we are both a very powerful couple, you can say. And another thing is happening is that I don't know if you're aware. I'm married to an American.
Yes.
So we've been married for now 10 years, and we both are coming out with a memoir, a book about the 10 years of married life. So that book is also under process. That should be coming out by the end of the year, most probably. It's a wedding gift to both of us, for completing 10 years of married life. So so it's being co-authored by myself and my husband. He's currently in Florida, and very soon coming to India. So we are going to publish it ourselves, and this book will also definitely help a lot of people who are struggling with their relationships, and those who want to have partners in their lives. So it's going to talk a lot about the struggles, the challenges we faced, coming from two different backgrounds, religious backgrounds, and geographical areas, how the two of us survived these 10 years. So both these books are going to come out very soon.
Let me know when that happens. I'll drop a link down below. I'll have people go and buy it.
Yes,
Yeah, that'll
definitely,
be good.
definitely. Yeah.
So speaking of different backgrounds, in one of your earlier interviews, you had mentioned that when you were younger, uh, it was expected of the royal family to maybe not spend a ton of time with the poorer class, and that had changed over the years. Were you instrumental in that change, or is that something that just happened and you happen to be a part of it?
I think I should give credit to my husband for that,
Yeah.
for making the change, because when he came into my life and he started living in India, for him, I mean, he was not raised in the royal family, so he did not understand many things. And when he came into my life, he said, you need to change yourself and start doing things which will help you, and he brought about the change. And in fact, I'm keeping in mind the royal protocols. He brought about a lot of change in my life, and today I owe a lot to him for who I am. I mean, I still do a lot of things undercover. I'm called Jimmy. I'm called Jimmy by a lot of my friends, because Jimmy is a name I've given to myself, who's the undercover prince, who doesn't reveal my identity when I go to places. But I do a lot of things nowadays, which I was not doing in the past, and that's happened because of my husband.
Is What are some of the things that you have experienced, whether it be like the food, whether it be the humor, the culture? What are some things you're very excited to welcome from the poorer class?
So one of the things which I started doing is, and of course carefully, is that I started eating street food, which, which which is much tastier than the food you get in five-star hotels, because
That's amazing.
it's yeah. So but I have to be careful what kind of street food I have, because sometimes street food can be dangerous. It could affect, if you're not used to it. It could if your immunity system is not strong, it could affect your health. But I kind of enjoy it, going out in the streets and talking to people, mixing with them, and then enjoying that food. So it's just about breaking your barriers, breaking your boundaries, and mixing with the people, and it's fun. It's really, I really enjoy it.
Good. When you go in, so when I was in, the only time I really spent in the Middle East was really when I was in Kuwait, and Kuwait was a dry country, so there was no alcohol for 7 months. Do you partake in the drinking? Do you every now and then have a nice cold beer? And if you do, what's your favorite
No,
drink?
I mean, you'll be surprised, but I never liked alcohol right from beginning.
Yeah.
I have issues with alcohol with my own system. I would say. I mean, each system is made differently. So uh, my immunity system is not very much accepting alcohol. To be honest, alcohol is very much part of royal families because we offer alcohol to our family goddess. We have a goddess. The temple is now 400 years old. And we worship this goddess, and we actually offer alcohol to the goddess. So it's important for us to consume alcohol because it's an offering to the god, and
Yeah.
it is disrespect if you do not take that alcohol. So ceremoniously I do have to take the alcohol, but otherwise if you ask me, I do not take alcohol. It doesn't suit my system.
How often do you do those ceremonies?
That's once a year.
Oh,
That's
okay. So you're not doing it like every month.
just once a year. Yeah. So
Okay.
so it's limited. It's not that it's on a day-to-day basis, but it's just once a year that ceremony is done.
Yeah. Is there what is what is a ritual that you thoroughly enjoy? A royal ritual that is like no other, and tell us why you love it.
So we have this royal ritual which is performed again once a year. It's a 9 days festival, and the 10th day is the day when I kind of go to the temple and I offer alcohol and food and many other things. So this festival is unique because even the president of India, if he or she has to take part, he has to take permission from the royal family. They cannot do it. It's a very unique, special festival which is only authorized. Only the royal family is authorized to do it, and I feel very proud that as a descendant, as a 39th direct descendant of this 650-year-old dynasty I belong to, I feel proud and privileged to have been given this authority to perform it
Wow.
every year, whichever part of the world I am. That particular time of the year, I'm always in India to perform that duty, that royal duty, which I've been entrusted. And there are thousands of people who come to witness that. It happens in the open. It's in the public. So there are a lot of people who come to witness that festival. A lot of films have been made, documentaries have been made on that festival because it's unique. It's going on for now last 600 years. This festival is happening, and my family has been performing it for the last from the 13th century, you can say. so
When is
from
that? Oh, what dates?
there's not a fixed date because we have the lunar calendar. We have the calendar which is based on the moon. So it changes. This year it's going to come end of October.
Hmm,
Sometimes it comes in beginning of October. So the dates keep changing every year.
gotcha. And how do you feel about, do you guys do daylight saving time over there?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Daylight saving time. I feel like that might just be an American thing.
Daylight saving? No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
I
when
don't know.
and twice a year we go and we change the time. Like, oh, hey, it's 3 o'clock now, and then in an hour it'll be 3 o'clock again. It's the stupidest thing in the world. But yeah, they
No,
do that twice a year.
I haven't heard of that as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
yeah,
and not all
I,
states do
I
it.
I would be given a chance to change the time. I would go back, flashback, and change and go behind and do things. I mean, if it's today, today it's the 16th there. No, it's 16th in India. 15th for you.
Yeah,
15th
15th
of July.
for the
Yeah.
next
So
hour and
if
a half.
I would be given a chance, I would make it 15th July 2000. So yeah, if that could happen, then
Okay.
I like to rewind.
I agree. I mean, well, 2000, I was kind of a kid, so I don't really want to be a kid again. I like to be a little bit younger, but maybe that's about it. Um, we are coming up on an hour. Is there anything you want to go over publicly before I talk to you off camera for a bit?
No, I'm fine. I mean, you can continue in whatever way you can.
Okay, we'll do well one or two more things, and then I'll talk to you off camera for a bit. A couple of things to go over. In the one, as you gain more and more political capital, being part of the G20 Summit, being invited everywhere, what is the next thing you want to tackle after you are able to ban conversion therapy in India? Is it going to be globally? Is it going to be something within your country or something else?
So, see, I have never restricted myself to Indian boundary
Mhm.
uh, in whatever things I've been doing. So, wherever the world needs me, I'm there for that. I've always and thanks to Oprah that I got an opportunity to do international advocacy. Since I got connected with so many countries in the world after her show got aired, so I took that opportunity to link with many individuals, many organizations. I'm currently even sitting on the board of an international organization working on human trafficking. So it's based out of USA. It's in Ohio. So this it's called Eyes Open International. So I'm working on human trafficking issues as well. I'm working on several other issues, environmental issues. I'm working on non-conventional energy sources like solar energy. So there are many things I'm working on. Animal rights, I'm working on that as well. So so I wear several hats. You know, this is not the only hat I wear. There are several hats I wear. So
Same.
there are so many things I'm involved with, and I wish to continue working on these issues and keep adding on to the issues in whatever limited time and span I have. I don't know how many years I'm going to live. I wish I lived till 100 or maybe beyond that as well, because I always find I'm running short of time. I want to do so many things in life, and of course, I need to prioritize. I can't do everything at the same time. But yeah, so and as I mentioned, I wish to cross the boundaries of India and do things. For example, last year when I was in US, the abortion law had just got passed. So,
Oh,
and so I'm trying to work on laws. I'm trying to work with issues which are happening, which should not happen in that particular culture or that particular geographical area. And wherever injustice happens, I reach out to that part. Whether it's for the LGBT community, it's for women, it's for animals, for anyone, wherever there is violation of their rights happening anywhere in the world, I would like to reach out to that part of the world and help out the people.
well, we have a bunch to talk about that. So I have my mission before I joined the military. I was a veterinarian assistant for 9 years, helping out animals in any way I could. And my mission in life now is to make as much money as possible so that I can go and buy a bunch of land in Madagascar and Indonesia, where a lot of the endangered species in the world are, and make them sanctuaries, fund it so that there'll be security there so no one's able to hunt on those lands in an attempt to save the animals. And one of the ways, the major way that I'm doing that is investing in a lot of crypto. How do you, speaking for the royal family and part of India, how do you guys feel about crypto and what are you investing in?
To be very honest, I am kind of keep away from a lot of financial issues and all, because I have never run after money. Yeah, on the contrary, money has run after me. So I keep away from. I do not invest in stocks or crypto or any of these things. I just invest in time, and I invest in the work which I do, and that helps my financial stability, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So I just go with the flow, and I've never had issues with finance as yet in my life, um, because I've never, as I mentioned, I've never run after money ever in my life.
So the reason why I bring that up is because last week I had on Alejandra Guajardo, who is Miss El Salvador. In the Miss Universe contest, she was Miss El Salvador, and she wore a Bitcoin dress, so a cryptocurrency dress, uh, to one of the competitions. And she and I both believe that crypto is a great way to transfer wealth, not from the poor to the rich, but from the inpatient to the patient. Where if you go and you can lift people out of poverty if you give them crypto, and it is a way to put $1,000 in now. Depending on what you go into, you'll have $100,000 in 2 years. I really like Omi. Most of the safe ones are just Bitcoin and Ethereum, Cardano, Binance, whatever. But I really like Omi. That's attached to the VV app that I told you about before that Amar has to deal with. We should definitely be talking about that. The other thing I wanted to say, you said you were on the board of one of those anti-child trafficking, or the child trafficking boards to help stop that, and that was in Ohio. I'm in Ohio a couple times a year. I have a bunch of friends there. What's the name of that company, and how can I help?
Yeah. It's called Eyes Open International.
Mhm.
Is the name of that It's a non-profit organization started by a friend of mine from originally from India, and he's a survivor of human trafficking, where he was invited to US, and then he was later on appointed by President Obama to be the consultant for the human trafficking issues in the White House. So he was involved in the White House since the time President Obama was the president, and then he continued to be in the White House even when President Trump was there. And so he has great political connections. And he recently, when I went to Ohio, he introduced me to the Attorney General of Ohio State. Went to the state house and met him and discussed a lot of issues, because there's a lot of human trafficking happening with the LGBT community as well. So he is also trying to help out the LGBT community in India, and we are doing a lot of awareness camps and education in India, because India is the source and America is the destination. In India we always say, oh, it's the American dream. Everyone wants to go to America, and then they get exploited, and they don't realize that how they get trafficked, and then they are in the position where they are helpless, and they become humans. They go into bondage and human slavery and things like that. So we are actively working to see how we could help each other out. He tries to help me out for my LGBT issues. I try to help him out for human
Oh.
trafficking. So that's how we work together.
How do how could the normal person help? Like how could I or some people that I know, how do we help with that?
I could provide you with the organization's details, and you could reach out to us, and and see in whatever way you could help us. I mean, the best way you could help is spread the word. You know,
Okay.
that's what I tell when people ask me how can I help you. I say, just talk, just talk about it. That's the best way. The more you talk, the more you break the silence, the more you will be able to create awareness, and bring about a change.
No. You were mentioning before, talking about solar panels, how you like renewable energy. How do you feel about Tesla's solar panels? And will you go and invest with them and get their batteries, bring them to India? Because India gets so much sun. You're able to
Yeah,
go and just will you
yeah,
will you buy some and store that energy?
yeah, definitely. I mean, currently I'm working on this project where I'm getting my entire LGBT community campus on solar energy.
Oh, cool.
I've already commissioned the work. Last week I met with the consultants and started off with the work. So my entire campus, which is going to be used by the LGBT community, this 15 acres of the establishment, I'm making it on solar energy, because uh, you don't have to pay for sun. Sun is, fortunately for in India, sun is available free of cost 24/7 by 365 days.
Yes.
So why not utilize this energy? It's just the initial investment which you can recover back very soon. And India is getting very popular with solar cars. Vehicles are very very popular in India. A lot of people are, even the government is encouraging it. We have solar buses. We have solar vehicles, taxis, which the government is trying to have engage more and more even in tourist areas in India. So it's definitely sun is a big thing in India. A lot of
So
people are going in for solar.
so you would lean more towards electric vehicles, and then like have you ever dabbled or taken a look at hydrogen vehicles?
No, electric vehicles also are good, because wherever we can save on the existing sources of energy, whether it's electric or it's solar or whatever you can replace. Because see now, as the population is increasing world over, there's definitely going to be a you know decrease in supply of the energy sources which we currently are having. Petrol, diesel, gas, all this is going to, gradually, we are going to it's going to get depleted. So we need to think about alternate energy sources to see that we are able to balance with these things. So electric, the Tesla cars. I've been in several Tesla cars when I was in US, and I find them quite efficient. I mean, why not? We need to now, as we make progress, we need to make change in our lives.
Agreed. I pre-ordered two Cybertrucks because one, the full self-driving is getting really good, so I locked in the full self-driving at like $7,000. And the other reason is because um, they're safe. They go a long way. I think the only other cars that I think I've seen that have gone longer ways, they don't make personal cars, they just make buses. My friend Ernie has a company, a hydrogen car company called Pegasus, and he's based out in Ohio as well. I'll introduce you to him when you get here. It's great to have. They'll definitely be able to save you a ton of money if you want to go hydrogen. They can do that. Um, well, we have a bunch of people asking about Vivi and Omi. Like I said, we'll talk about that off camera a little bit. Um, I would like to thank you for
And
coming.
yeah,
Mhm.
I want to add one more thing. These electric cars, they will also save on a lot of the pollution emission,
Yes,
which is polluting which is polluting us. So these electric cars help in that as well.
yes. Glad to see that everyone will be breathing cleaner air in the next 20 years as you guys move over from internal combustion engines to electric or hydrogen. I think that'd be really great. And again, I do want to thank you for coming on. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do have to talk to you a little bit off camera. So I'll end the stream here. I'll just ask you to stay on for a little bit. Thank you so much for
Sure.
coming on. This has been
Thank
great.
you. Yeah.